Coming up on SBU TV, we prepare to send 4 area Jiu-Jitsu fighters to Australia later this year, and we get fit at a local gym. Hello and welcome to SBU TV. I'm Amelia Kibbe.
And I'm Catherine Brown. 4 of Olean's own have made Team USA, but for what sport? Brittany Slomba will tell you more.
4 locals have been selected as members of the USA National Sport Jiu-Jitsu Team and will be competing at the World Championships in Australia. Owner of AKT Combatives Academy, Grandmaster Barry Broughton, has also earned a spot on Team USA's coaching staff.
Really excited that we can not only represent the U.S., but also represent our area and show people that if you put in the time, the dedication, make the sacrifices, that you really can achieve really, really great things.
After several months of tryouts, Desmond White, Charlie Love, Brianna Bayer, and Michael Hanchett recall the moment they first found out they made Team USA. The guidelines for making the USA Jiu-Jitsu team goes far beyond skill.
Camaraderie, that willingness to learn and be teachable and coachable and to work together as a unit, as a team, not just I, me, my. It can't be that.
Even though I'm willing to learn, the team said I have no chance of competing in the World Championships in October. For SBU TV, I'm Brittany Slomba.
If you're interested in learning more, visit aktcombatives.com.
A local high school may have big changes in its future. Ethan Kibbe reports.
On April 4th, residents of Hinsdale Central School District will vote to determine the fate of a proposed $7 million expansion project. Superintendent Larry Youngberg says the renovations would increase enrollment.
That old adage, if you build it, they will come, we do believe that. This will give us a premier facility, and I believe that will attract even more students.
The money would be used to improve the school's gyms, enhance its security measures, build a new bus garage, and close off this canopy to create additional storage. But that's not all it would do.
The proposed renovation would take this field and turn it into an athletic complex with a 6-lane track.
Youngberg says all athletes, not just runners, would use the track.
We've always struggled with conditioning. Where do we run? How do we condition our athletes? And we've been on the streets, on the sidewalks, and it's just not appropriate. So this is an opportunity to give the students an appropriate facility, and as well as open it up to community.
The new land also includes a pond, which Youngberg says the school would put to good use.
We can do all sorts of studies. We can do aquatic studies, we can do short-term studies, we can do long-term studies, we can do actual science. That's incredible.
But, Youngberg notes, it's all hypothetical until the plan is approved.
It's really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I don't think this will come along again.
For SBU TV, I'm Ethan Kibbe.
State funds would cover about 70% of the project, which would be completed in 2020. A $50 a year per household tax increase would cover the other 30%.
Recently, St. Bonaventure University added men's lacrosse back to its athletic program. Tim Kenny discussed how men's lacrosse could hopefully improve enrollment.
Once we ran the numbers and once we ran the logistics, we said this is a good one. This is a sport that will help the university as a whole and hopefully drive higher enrollment in the end.
Kenny commented on the plan for the future team.
Well, we'll hire a coach that'll start in June. We won't have a varsity team for the first year. It'll be more setting things up, recruiting to bring kids in for the next year. So the next year we plan on having at least 30, if not more, new kids entering the school.
Kenny explained why Bonaventure could be a possible hotspot for future student athletes.
We're kind of geographically in a perfect spot. Corning, Rochester, South Townsend, Buffalo. It's huge. Pennsylvania, Ohio. You go over to Salamanca on the reservation, that's their game. They call it the creators game on the reservation.
The lacrosse team is expected to be playing competitively by the spring of 2019.
4 people were killed and several others were injured after a terrorist attack near the House of Parliament in London on Wednesday. We have network reports.
attack on Parliament, an attack on police. At 2:45 this afternoon, gunshots were heard outside the House of Commons while MPs were inside. Moments before, a scene of chaos and carnage. This vehicle crashed into the railings. As police descended, a man with a knife was seen to run into the grounds of the Palace of Westminster.
At this stage, I will confirm what we know has happened, but I will not speculate. We received a number of different reports, which included a person in the river, a car in collision with pedestrians, and a man armed with a knife. Officers were already in that location as part of routine policing, but immediately additional officers were sent to the scene, and that included firearms officers. We are working closely with the London Ambulance Service and the London Fire Brigade.
Someone crashed a car, and so I took some pedestrians out, and they were just laying there.
It soon became clear a police officer had been stabbed. Witnesses say the assailant was then shot as he approached a second officer.
I looked around, I saw the crash. The car went over the cycle lane and into the parliamentary railings.
The Metropolitan Police says they're treating this as a terrorist attack until they know otherwise.
The man responsible for the attack has been identified as Khalid Massoud.
A local gift shop is using art as a way to distress. Natalie Kucko has more.
Handmade by Shelby is a local gift store and art studio located in the heart of downtown Olean. It features customized glassware in almost any design, and there's one woman behind it all.
They're fun to drink out of, they're bright and colorful. It's a little more difficult than painting on paper or canvas. It takes a little bit of a knack.
Not only does Shelby create these glasses for sale on the marketplace, but she uses her talents in art therapy for others.
People that sign up for the classes, it's 90% say, I've never painted, I'm not artistic. I think they all are nice, but you know, I think that at the end of it, people are really surprised at how well they do.
In today's digital age, Shelby reminds us why it's important to take time for creativity.
It's easy to hand someone a tablet or, you know, TV or an Xbox. Art kind of gets you thinking and being able to be creative and expressive.
The authenticity of each gift is what makes it special.
Creating a gift that's unique and artistic for somebody that they can't get anywhere else is pretty rewarding.
You don't have to be artistic to take a class. Simply pick up a brush and try. For SBU TV, I'm Natalie Kuchko.
Handmade by Shelby is open Thursday through Saturday. For more information, visit the link below.
Madeleine Faircloth checked out a weight training facility in our series on local businesses.
This week I traded pizza and booze for sneakers and weightlifting as I visited Eade's Fitness 24/7. Owner Paul Eade explains the fitness center, located in downtown Olean, started after him and a group of friends working out at the local YMCA noticed a need not being met.
It was really just insufficient for the guys that were really into weight training and powerlifting, so we decided to start our own gym. So this is my 29th year of being in the gym business.
So what's different about his weight training gym? Eade says they tailor towards more serious athletes, offering various competitions throughout the year, such as tire flipping, keg lifting, and the basic weightlifting and physique shows.
I really push people to compete. I like to train hard, eat good, repeat it, and compete it. So we kind of got events that go year-round, both that we compete in and that we promote. But then we also are known to be more of the competitive type here, and I kind of promote that. We got the casual workout enthusiasts, but I like to think of ourselves as the more serious athletes here.
Eade's 24/7 offers memberships ranging from $7 for a day pass to $360 for a year with no initiation fees. The gym also has personal trainers and instructors on duty during staffing hours. For SBU TV, I'm Madeleine Faircloth.
In religious news, a local church received a special designation this month. Pope Francis recently named St. Mary's of the Angels Church in Olean a basilica. Bishop Richard Malone of the Diocese of Buffalo says the 102-year-old church received the honor because of its history, beautiful art and architecture, and the current vitality of the parish. Malone will preside over a special Mass on June 29th to celebrate the new title. St. Mary's is the 83rd basilica in the United States and the 9th named by Pope Francis.
A St. Bonaventure University club hosted a trio of St. Bonaventure alumni for the first consulting day this week. Amelia has the story.
3 successful St. Bonaventure alumni
said one of the most important lessons they've learned is to ask questions. During the March 23rd panel discussion, they gave students and future consultants the opportunity to do just that. Cattaraugus County Consulting Corporation, or C4, hosted consultants Mark Kennedy and Kate Burt, along with Michael Kaspersky, a Bonaventure professor and local consultant.
You're not understanding the conversation, you got to ask the question.
Event organizer Josh Lewis says the day-long event allowed students a chance to prepare for a changing business landscape.
It was a great opportunity for students and C4 members to come and really learn and take something away from people who have been doing consulting and have their own practices.
The panel also gave audience members advice for entering the business field.
I've taken what I was in the pond, and now I'm in the ocean.
After working for firms and corporations, both Kennedy and Burt began working as independent consultants.
I have kind of that entrepreneurial spirit, so it's either like open a coffee shop or be a consultant.
Lewis says he hopes the consulting panel discussion will become an annual event. Along with the panel, the day included various seminars. For SBU TV, I'm Amelia Kibbe.
The club plans to host other events throughout the year.
A St. Bonaventure professor and director of theater spent a week in Kuwait as an ambassador for the U.S. State's Department Art Envoy program. Nicolette has the story.
Dr. Ed Simone was invited to the U.S. Embassy in Kuwait City to teach master-level classes and workshops.
I did 2 high schools. Well, actually, high school and middle school at one location. One was an international school and one was a Muslim school.
Simone spent time teaching action and voice production, broadcasting and film, and presenting readings of classic American verse.
We talked about changes and growth, and with the filmmakers I actually worked on them about directing dialogue.
Simone says that him and his wife Lee were welcomed with tremendous hospitality, kindness, and enthusiasm.
People were gracious and friendly and welcoming. It was really a wonderful experience.
There wasn't a language barrier in Kuwait. In fact, most people Simone met spoke English.
There were people there when I was there who said, boy, wouldn't it be great if you could come back, you could do a longer stay, it would be, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'd love to do that. That would be great fun.
For SBU TV, I'm Nicolette DiMura.
Dr. Ed Simone teaches several acting and theater classes on campus.
An award-winning author visited St. Bonaventure University and shared his views on the education system. Hailey Gattuso has more.
In the passion of the civil rights campaigns of 1964 and 65, author and educator Jonathan Kozel gave up the prospect of a promising career in the academic world, moving from Harvard Square to a poor black neighborhood in Boston, where he became a 4th grade teacher. He then went on to teach in a more affluent neighborhood.
I mean, when I saw what the kids out in the suburbs were getting, I said, this is what all children in this country should get.
This experience inspired him to devote nearly his entire life to the challenge of providing equal opportunity to every child in the public school system. During his 3-day visit at St. Bonaventure, Kozel raised awareness about problems in the public education system, the main one being unequal funding.
Yeah, you might live to see a day when we will do what all other modern developed nations do, which is to fund the education of all our children from the real wealth of our nation.
Now, at the age of 81, Kozel still continues to make a difference in the lives of children.
I'm going to California tomorrow, where I'm going to spend a week working with Latino children who are, quote, undocumented, with a sword of fear hanging over their head right now.
Kozel pointed out that segregation leads to lack of understanding and makes way for a culture of hostility and racism.
It's that we grow up and we don't know each other, and what we don't know we fear.
For SBU TV, I'm Hailey Gattuso.
Kozel believes that our nation can't be united until public education is truly desegregated.
A St. Bonaventure student is making waves in music production. Josh Svetz has this story.
Since the age of 10, Dustin Schreibman knew he wanted to make beats professionally. And through a course in musical production, Schreibman was able to accomplish his childhood dreams. But to Schreibman, this was a lot more than just a school project.
I went to Twitter, I looked at people who followed me because some music people started following me, and I reached out to a rapper who is based on the West Coast.
That rapper was Dylan Phillip, a professional newcomer with over 84,000 Twitter followers.
No man affiliates with God whose heart is full of hatred. Be patient, my time will come to dominate this music.
Philip decided to use Schreibman's beats for an Untitled track still in production.
I got these goosebumps creeping on my skin. You know what it is, like that first kid.
One thing's for sure, Schreibman is motivated to make tracks like this.
I get inspired by people who I've watched and listened to, so I just want to be the same as them.
For SBU TV, I'm Josh Svetz.
The song is expected to be released by mid-April and will be available on various streaming platforms.
That's all for us here in the Coop. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for the Wolfpack Report.
Hello and welcome to the Wolfpack Report. Alongside Megan Burke, I'm Ethan Kibbe.
Today's interviews feature the school's strength and conditioning coach, men's rugby coach, and a member of the men's soccer team.
Hello again. Joining me in the studio is Darren Fisk, the strength and conditioning coach for every Division I team here at Bonaventure. Coach, I appreciate you taking the time to be with me today.
Happy to be here. Happy to be here.
Now, I know that you've been here for the last 15 years, but would you take me through the journey that led you to come here?
I graduated from the University of Buffalo with a degree in exercise science in May of 1996. At the time, I was an intern strength and conditioning coach with the football program up at UB, and I was very excited. I knew it. I wanted to be a strength coach, but unfortunately, I didn't know exactly the path. Well, lucky me, the coach I was working for, Sam Ginelli, he knew Mickey Marotti, who was the strength coach at the time at the University of Cincinnati, and he had an opening, and just by luck I got a full-time position as a 23-year-old punk kid straight out of college as a full-time assistant strength and conditioning coach. Kind of learned on the run, but I really loved it. Spent about 3 years there. Then I moved on to Miami of Ohio, where I spent approximately almost a year, and then got the call here at St. Bonaventure. My wife was from the area and things of that nature, so it worked out well, you know. And I've been here, I believe this is my 17th year. I think I started in July of 1999, so about 17 years here at St. Bonaventure.
And how does someone get into strength and conditioning? Like, what made you say I want to be a strength and conditioning coach?
Well, initially I wanted to be a football coach. I wanted to be a Division I football coach. I did enjoy weight training as an athlete, and it's actually kind of a hobby still. But I didn't want to put my livelihood in the hands of 18 to 22-year-old kids, which, you know, a lot of people sometimes get upset how much these coaches get paid, but one bad season and you're out of a job, and you may have a family and a house and a car and all these things. So, but I knew I wanted to be around athletics. And so when I did this internship with the strength coach at UB, I just fell in love with it. It was a way to still be around athletics, but yet do a little bit more, because as a strength coach, you can be around the athletes a lot more than their coaches can. So it gave me an opportunity to help develop kids a lot easier.
And you've been here for so long. You're dealing with a small school. You have a small weight room that's basically like a dungeon in the bottom of the Riley Center. Why not go somewhere big where you certainly would be credentialed and could get a job to do that?
I actually kind of relish the underdog role that we have here. Let's face it, we're always going to be underdogs. You know, we're a small private Catholic institution in the foothills of the Allegheny Mountains. You know, so we're never going to have the big budget and things of that nature. So when our teams are successful, I get a little bit more juiced, so to speak. You know, I'm a little bit more excited about it, as opposed to if you went to a big school. Well, you're supposed to win, or you're supposed to be good. You know, case in point, I tell a lot of athletes, when I was at the University of Cincinnati, I worked with men's basketball. We didn't get worried about the NCAA tournament until the second round. You know, here, if we're even eligible for the NCAA tournament, this whole community is excited. You know, so it's a big difference. I enjoy it, and you know, I've had opportunities to go elsewhere, but you know, I kind of have roots right now. My family's dug in, my kids are dug in, so you know, I enjoy still being here at St. Bonaventure.
And as much as you like seeing athletes succeed, what is that like, knowing that every single athlete here on campus that finds success, you played a role in that?
Well, I try to tell people this. I didn't do it. They did it. Okay? You win a champion, you know, you run a race, you win a race, you did it. I didn't do it. Now, I may have done some things behind the scenes to help you do that, but that's all on them. You know, I don't have a win-loss record. You know, I don't have Mark Schmidt's record. I don't have Jesse Fleming's record. I don't have Bob McFarland's record. I don't have any coaches. They're the ones that teach the skill. Okay? Now, what I may do is I do three things. Number one, I'm going to enhance your genetic potential. I believe a stronger athlete is going to be a better athlete. A stronger runner is going to be a better runner. Okay? A stronger runner is going to be less susceptible to injury. Okay? And I use running because obviously I know you're a runner. And the third thing, it's tough. You've been under a bar. You know, and a lot of people don't like to weight train because it's hard. It's hard. And so when you start doing that and you start training, not only are you physically getting stronger, you're getting mentally stronger. And so I think that that's the biggest thing that I try to get across to our athletes here at St. Bonaventure. And for the most part, when they are successful, it's because they're the hardest working team out on the field of play.
And talk to me, if you would, about that training. Do you just have all athletes doing the same stuff? Do you individualize by team, by the specific athlete? How does that work?
For the most part, every athletic movement, there's going to be involved a pull, some sort of press, and some sort of squatting motion. Okay, and we incorporate that into every training program. Now, where I get a little bit more sport specific is what we call our accessory type of exercises. Okay, so case in point, our first three exercises, you're going to do some sort of press. I don't care if that's a bench press, an overhead press, an incline press, a dip is actually a press. Okay, some sort of pull. It may be a pull-up, a row. It may be a power clean. It may be a deadlift. It's a pull. Or some sort of squatting. Regular squat, front squat, lunge, any variation. But then where we get more sport specific and where we look into the difference between training for a soccer athlete as opposed to a basketball player is in our accessories. Our movements that help build up our other movements. You know, I may be a little bit more functional with our swimmers, particularly in the upper body, where they see a lot of injury and stuff of that nature. So I may incorporate a little bit more ropes and things of that nature that help them not only get stronger but do it through a range of motion. You know, it's very hard to get sport specific in the weight room, and the reason why I say that, a squat is going to be just as good for a runner as it is for a football player. So which one? How do you make it more specific for the other? Well, you change the variables. Weight, reps, sets, things of that nature. But where we get really more specific is more in the conditioning to the needs of the game. You know, I'm not going to condition a soccer athlete like I'm going to condition a basketball athlete, or vice versa. You know, so that's where we get a little bit more sport specific.
Let's talk accolades for a moment, if we can. You were named a Master Strength and Conditioning Coach. And I also went and spoke with some of your athletes, and the quotes I heard were, Coach Fisk cares more than any coach here on campus. Coach Fisk makes morning lifts bearable. And Coach Fisk is the best thing about being a St. Bonaventure athlete. What do those things mean to you?
I appreciate it. I do appreciate it. I don't know if I make it more bearable. But I try to bring some energy, particularly our morning teams. You know, I know our cross-country track team, they're not really fans of the morning, 6 a.m. mornings, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But I try to bring some juice to it a little bit, pump them up, get them going. But in regards to the quotes, first of all of our coaches do so much with so very little. You know, and I just want any success that we have here is due to the hard work of our coaches. Now, I tend to work with most of the athletes. So I appreciate that, that they think that highly of me. But at the end of the day, I think what they see more than anything is someone that just genuinely cares about their well-being. I don't care if you're a cross-country runner. I don't care if you're a swimmer, or I don't care if you're a golfer. And, I guess I would say lower profile sports. I don't care if you're that. The only thing I care about is when you're in that weight room with me, you're going to get my best, and I'm going to demand your best when you're in there. And I think kids appreciate that. I think they really appreciate that.
And Coach, we'll get you out of here on this. The burning question. You're taking the time out of the day to do this. Are we going to have athletes that are weaklings now?
I hope not. I hope not. No. I will close with this in terms of the strength and conditioning coach. This is not a job. This is a lifestyle. If this is a job to you, you're going to burn out really quick. This is a lifestyle. And I'm lucky I married a woman who understands this lifestyle. Because sometimes, even though on the weekends, and all of our coaches know this, I'm not here. That's my family time. Saturday and Sunday is my family time. So if they have recruits coming in, I'm meeting with them during the week, Friday, whatever. Okay? But this is a lifestyle. This is a lifestyle. I love the long hours. I don't care about money as long as I got a roof over my head, food on the table for the kids, clothes on their backs. I'm happy. Okay? I do this so when a kid finishes their college career and they see me sometime in the hall, they come back for an alumni game or something of that nature, first thing they say to me is, "Thank you, Coach." To me, that's worth more money than anything in this whole entire world. So that's why I do what I do. But I appreciate it. I appreciate being here, and I hope there's no one being weaklings right now as I'm sitting here right now. So,
thanks, Coach. Pleasure to have you on. When we return, Megan Burke will sit down with a member of the men's soccer team.
Welcome back. Joining me today is Anthony Celio of the men's soccer team. Anthony, thanks for being here.
No problem.
So you guys have a prospect camp coming up,
Yep.
Adidas one. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so that's actually where our coach saw me play first. So he knew someone who knew the coaching director at my club, and he called the coaching director and asked if I'd come down for the prospect camp. Mm-hmm. And so that's where we met, took a tour of the school. It's where I played for the first time while he watched me. And that's actually how the recruiting process started with me and the school.
Okay, so you have 3 new commits coming for next season. Have you guys started looking forward besides them, towards the season?
Well, so in the spring season, we're always preparing for the fall season. Mm-hmm. So we're doing lifts, and also in practices, instead of doing a normal practice, we'll work on things that we weren't particularly doing well in the
mm-hmm.
fall.
Okay. And so you play in World FC.
World Class
FC, sorry. What is that exactly?
So that's the club I played for.
Mm-hmm.
We're based out of Orangeburg, New York, mm-hmm. and actually my dad is the coaching director there. Okay. So I was part of the first team there when they originally started, mm-hmm. and I played there I think from U14 to U16, which is when I left there actually to go play for the New York Red Bulls Academy team, and after that I finished up my club career with World Class.
Oh, okay, nice. And as a D1 athlete, obviously it's a lot of work. Do you feel like you don't get the full college experience, or?
Honestly, that's a question that I guess you have to consider when you first start playing a Division I sport. Mm-hmm. But for me, I don't think so, because it creates a another set of guidelines that we have to go by. It keeps us out of trouble, mm-hmm. and we have someone who's looking out for us, our coach looks out for us, keeps us out of trouble, and I think we're not missing out on anything. I think it actually enhances the college experience.
Yeah. So if you're the model yourself after one professional soccer player, who would it be?
It'd probably be this center back named Nemanja Vidic. He's a Serbian, big guy. He's always going to tackles, he's not afraid to get bloody, so that's who I'd probably have to base my game off of.
Thank you for joining us today, Anthony. Stay tuned as North Westall interviews his rugby coach when we return.
Thanks for staying tuned to the Wolfpack Report. I'm North Westall, joined today by Tui Osborne, coach of the men's rugby team. Thanks for coming down, Coach.
Thanks, North. Thanks for having me.
So, you're originally from Fiji's capital city of Suva. Tell me about your life there and why you started playing rugby.
Growing up in Fiji, as it being our national sport, I didn't really have a choice. So, played it in elementary and high school, and I obviously, came to the U.S. and kept playing.
From your experiences, what are the biggest differences between rugby culture in America and rugby culture in Fiji?
There's a huge difference. Like I said, it is our national sport, and compare that to the U.S., we have so many sports, football, basketball. So you grow up, playing basketball and football,
right,
as opposed to in Fiji, rugby is the only main sport there. So that's probably the biggest difference in culture.
And how have you been in the U.S.?
I've been here for 25 years.
What brought you to Bonaventure?
My wife is from Buffalo, and I used to be in Atlanta, coaching down there, and the opportunity came up, and it was the right fit for me, and I accepted the job here, so I'm glad to be here.
Okay. Now, last spring, the men's sevens teams finished the year with a run at nationals. What are some of your goals and expectations for this season?
Last year we had a pretty good team. We had 6 seniors who were starters, and we did well at nationals. So this year's a little bit of a different team. Those guys graduated, and we have a young team. We got some experience, but not much. But we had a good run in Vegas, and I think we have a few challenges coming up in the next few tournaments. But the guys are pretty confident and ready to take that on, and I'm looking forward to them performing.
Okay. That's all for today's edition of the Wolfpack Report. Make sure to tune in next week for more on the Bona Sports World.